But this is completely unsustainable because of going back to the whole birth rates thing. Like, any culture that just stops reproducing itself is not going to last.
Anyway, you were saying, along pretty much everywhere outside of Iceland and CEOs.
The gender pay gap is an artifact, one, of the fact that there are a small number of very, very high-earning men, and two, of it's basically a maternity gap. It's actually just the fact that having children means that you can't operate in the workplace in the way that a man can. Like, at the very least, when you're very pregnant and you've just given birth, But women are choosing not to do that, right? If you don't have children and you are a sort of typical woman in terms of being slightly more conscientious, slightly more agreeable, having all of these, being more punctual, being a better employee, you do basically have more of an advantage in the workplace than another man. But this is completely unsustainable because of going back to the whole birth rates thing. Like, any culture that just stops reproducing itself is not going to last. It's either going to just wither away and die, or it's going to be overtaken by some other culture. And I sort of think like the answer to the riddle of why every culture that we see on historical record that has sustained itself and flourished has been patriarchal is possibly because a culture has to be patriarchal in order to reproduce itself. Like, that's my black pill reading this stuff.
Dig into that.
Because it's very hard to have lots of kids as a woman. You can maybe have one or two just about and it not affect your career. But there's just a straightforward clash between the labour market and reproduction for women that you can kind of get away with if you make enough money, because you can pay for nannies and all this kind of stuff. But for most women, it's just like, they're almost irreconcilable. You have to trade off something. And what most women are choosing to do, it seems, is that they're having fewer children. Which for them personally might actually, the truth is, like, children are expensive and knackering. Like, they are wonderful, but if you've not had them, you don't know how wonderful they are. Like, once you've had your children, you just love them more than life itself. Like, every mother I know says, I would unhesitatingly die for my children. But if you've never experienced that kind of love, and it's kind of theoretical, then why wouldn't you say, actually, no, I'd rather make this next promotion?